So, guys, that was pretty disappointing. Obviously, something the aspect of not what I wanted to see, and I think for me the most disappointing part is Chelsea had many of their sort of team out that they would normally play. We had I don't know if you can call it a strong team, but it is arguably one of our stronger teams, bar maybe one or two positions that were selected today. But there wasn't really any particular drive, no concentration. But more importantly was, again, the shambolic defending. Why can we not get rid of this absolutely abysmal defending that we have in our team over the last few years? And it's very much the similar principle. We have one good game and everyone sings the praises, saying, oh, finally the players have switched around, and then they go and do that. And yes, you could argue that Tanganga is being thrown at the deep end, as it were, but at the end of the day, if you want to be a professional and a top player, and you feel that you are at that level, then you need to be present in that point in time. But obviously we're going to the call-ins at some point soon, but of course keep the chat going. Let us know your comments and opinions on this match. But Stelios, my friend, what this is a derby, right? And I felt like there was a lack of desire and commitment, and just just didn't turn up. What do you think?
I've said it too many times now, and I'm going to say it once again. This squad is not good enough. Fans are scared sometimes to share their true opinion because they're worried what people might think of them. They're scared of being branded negative, pessimistic. I'm not. I'm honest. And whenever anyone says, oh, you're being negative, I always say, no, I'm being honest. And if I was to put money on my opinions and fans were to put money on their opinions about this subject, I'd be a very rich man compared to them, because the squad is an average squad with 2 or 3 top players. It's okay when you play Leeds United at home. You play Norwich at home. You play teams in the bottom 10 at home. When you go away from home, what have you got then? Can't beat Everton, can't beat Southampton, just beat Watford, although against Watford we deserved that. We've gone away to one of the top teams in the country. We weren't even in the game. That was a very poor performance from Tottenham tonight. Liverpool at home, one of the top teams in the country. We couldn't put them to bed. We couldn't take our chances. Quality. We're not good enough. And This is why I won't buy into the conversation that Spurs are good enough for top 4. We're in the title race. We're in the top 4 race. It's between us, Man United, West Ham and Arsenal. No, it's not. We are not in that race. It's an illusion. We are going to come unstuck and the wheels are going to come off. But what I will say, out of all the teams chasing top 4, we have got the best manager. Give him the tools. If you buy 2 or 3 players, not 5 or 6, we can do a rebuild in the summer. But if we just want to get top 4, buy 2 or 3 quality players that are ready now, not project players. And just like Cavani and Bruno Fernandes changed the whole season for United, those kind of quality players will change the season for Spurs. Conte's done a great job with a very average team, but the wheels are going to come off. I fear us in the North London derby. The only thing that I'm hoping will go well in that game is we're at home, and I think at home there is more passion from us.
Well, the fans make a massive difference.
Yeah, I think there's more passion from us. But tonight, that was a poor performance. The positives are we didn't get smashed, so we are still in the tie. We can't forget we are still in the tie. It's not all doom and gloom. Another positive tonight was Tanganga. Yeah, he had a horrid start to the game, but he recovered well. Tanganga did recover well. Conte did change it up. He did try. We did look more promising in the second half, especially the first 20 minutes. But overall, quality will always shine at the end of the day. In a one-off game, you never know. You might, the underdog might sneak it. Today wasn't one of those days. It's tough for us as Spurs fans, but I'm not saying this because I want Spurs fans to think it's all doom and gloom, because it's not. In the Premier League, we're 8 undefeated. And in the Carabao Cup tonight, we're still in the tie. We are. I just want fans to humble themselves and stop getting carried away with this. Top 4 is ours. We're in the race. Antonio's going to do it. Antonio is not Mary Poppins. He's not a magician. He hasn't got like a sprinkle of magic dust and he's doing a great job with a very average team.
Do you know what?
Take Kane and Son out this team, we are nothing. We are really in trouble. And tonight, it showed. And we just need to accept where we are. We're at the beginning of the Antonio phase.
Yeah.
But the Antonio phase will end very quickly if Daniel Levy and Joe Lewis do not back this guy.
This it's a major concern.
It has to happen. It's not optional. If they don't, he's gone, Kane's gone, Son's gone, and there's going to be anarchy at Tottenham.
Yeah.
So, but look, we are still in the tie, Si. We are still in the tie.
Yeah. We have this super chat here. Useless. Change the majority of the team by 22, 23, or this club is dead.
I agree.
We were saying that every season, haven't we? For 2017, maybe. What development have we seen? We know it's a situation. We don't need to go around in circles. This happens every season. We have the same boring conversations in January, the same boring conversations in the summer. The only difference is that we've got a in the moment top manager, a supposedly a very experienced and influential director of football in Paratici. This is where it's make or break for us, because the teams around us will be strengthening. There's teams around us being purchased left, right, and centre. We now got Southampton with a billionaire owner. Okay, so we've got Newcastle down the road. We're talking about a few years' time, but we've got to be very careful because we already know our team, pretty much the whole team needs replacing, right? And how long is that going to take? We don't have this capacity to spend the money. So we're saying change the majority of the team.
Sorry, what I would say is this, okay? We've got the stadium. We've got the revenue. We've got the manager. We're going to wait and see if we've got the director of football, but it seems that we do. We've got enough quality for a foundation to be built on. We've got the fan base. We've got the academy. We've got the training facility. We have pulling power. We are positioned to really shoot for the stars. This club is positioned. It is all over to Daniel Levy and Enoch. Either you want it or go.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. Tonight, in some ways, is a good thing because it's another reminder to these owners.
Yeah.
This manager, any manager, Klopp, Pep, Tuchel, none of them can do more than what Conte is doing right now. There are some things tactically that I would have done differently tonight. There are some questionable players that started tonight, but nonetheless, the overall play, even when we changed system, even when we made substitutions, the overall play wasn't good enough. People talk about, oh, I can see patterns of play. I can see an identity. No, you can't. Where was the identity tonight?
No, there wasn't any.
Anyone's got an identity.
But what
when
is
you play
our
Norwich.
identity? What is our identity?
When you play Norwich and you score 4 goals, like every team does, we've all got an identity.
Yeah.
We're all good against Norwich. You know, it's been able to play. I think Conte knows the way he wants to play. And I think most of us know he wants to play 3 at the back, 4 in midfield, 3 up top, sometimes 2 up top, 5 in midfield, okay, with the attacking wing backs. I think we all know that's how he wants to set us up. He hasn't got the players for it.
No.
So as a manager, he's got a decision to make. Do I pursue with this in every single game? Or do I switch it up because I don't have the players? Until he gets the players, he needs to switch it up. But even then tonight, he did switch it up. And Chelsea still had us in their back pocket. We didn't lay a glove on Chelsea tonight. They've got a centre back out. They had Sarin who isn't great. We didn't trouble him once. Both their top wing backs are out. We didn't attack those channels. When we did, the only player that really caused a threat down the wing the whole game was Hill. And he was only on the pitch for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
In the middle of the park, they dominated. At the back, we got pulled out of shape. We also showed that we're not good enough against a team that does keep the ball, that does play well, that does put pressure on us. So it was a difficult night for us. But again, it's just a reminder of where we're really at. And we're at the beginning, hopefully, of the Conte era.
Yeah.
Levy, Enoch.
His players need to come
Back the manager, man.
His players need to come in.
That's all it is.
As someone once said to me, you cannot polish a turd. So Donovan here has said, I've never been more frustrated than I was with Højbjerg tonight. Every touch, every 50-50 ball was tough to watch. Now,
What did Son do? What did Mora do?
Yeah.
What did any of our midfielders do?
I think that's a good point. But
it's easy for us
I think
to
as
target
well,
Højbjerg, right?
Højbjerg's position is, of course, one of those that stands out the most because it's in that particular position. I think there was a number of occasions where he's put under pressure because no one else is doing anything. But equally, he does put himself and the team under a bit of pressure sometimes. I like Højbjerg, but there are games when people have said to me after the game, "Oh, Højbjerg didn't play well," and I was like, "Really? Are you sure?" Because he's put a lot of energy and effort into there because some tackles. But there's games like tonight where I do see the other side of the coin, as it were, and you see the bad side of a player, and it goes inconclusively with the rest of the team. Well, the points you made is like it's pretty bang average, most of our team, to be honest. Like, and when we are bad, we majorly stand out, right? We majorly stand out.
So let me ask you a question.
You can ask me as many questions as you want, mate.
Of all the players that played tonight, starting, subs, even the players on the bench, if Chelsea was to come in and buy players from Spurs, how many of those would Chelsea say, yeah, we want those players?
They might possibly take Harry just because of the emphasis of if he was in a decent team, he might
Harry Kane
might do that. I wouldn't really be able to definitively pick anyone else.
Son?
I really love Son. I think Son is...
Son, then.
I don't know.
He's our top scorer.
He is, but sometimes he gets very lost in the games.
But if he's in a better team with better players around.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say Son.
100%.
Any of the wing backs, the wingers?
No.
Any of our defenders at all?
No. I've always stood my ground with that defence. So irrespective of whether they have one game or two good games.
Would they take Lloris over Mendy?
Over Mendy?
As a backup, even as a backup?
Oh, as a backup, I would have thought.
All right, so let's say Lloris. Would they take Skip, Højbjerg, Mora, Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele Alli?
I think they would take Skip because I think he's a phenomenal talent.
So 4.
But the rest of them...
Brian Hill?
For future development, for sure. I think he's got a great big spark in him.
Okay, so if Chelsea are our rivals for trophies, so we always play Chelsea in semi-finals of Cup. So I see Chelsea as a rival for any trophy, whether it's Carabao Cup, FA Cup, because the amount of times we played Chelsea in semi-finals and lost. They're a rival of ours. For the league, they're always going to be a rival of ours because they're always in that top 4, always knocking on the door of winning the league, okay? And they're our European rivals. So if Chelsea is a main rival of Spurs and only 5 players of Spurs get into Chelsea, does that not say we need a major rebuild if we are serious about winning trophies?
But didn't Pochettino say that? In the season that we moved to the new stadium, he made the critical announcement that we need to put the new furniture in the new house. And realistically, after those comments was when the team started to depreciate, because clearly something had obviously gone on in the back end between him and Levy to say, why on earth did you say that in public, mate? Like, you're making me look stupid. And that's the same narrative all the time. Whatever manager comes into Tottenham, they'll have this wonderful few weeks, and all of a sudden the truth comes out. And they're actually like, hang on a minute, this isn't as glamorous as they sold it to me. It's a very beautiful stadium, very beautiful training ground and gymnasium, and fantastic food. But then the rest of it is absolute tripe. And it's like Pochettino was, I don't want to go too much into the history of our managers again, because that is in the past, unfortunately. And every year that passes, it gets further and further away, which is very sad. But the grand point is, that rebuild conversation has been going on since that day. And they had the argument that the stadium has been purchased, which, by the way, wasn't paid for. It's been loaned for the next God knows how many years. And many assets in America have been moved about.
Look, given where we are now, okay? Because you're right, we shouldn't go into the past because we always touch on it. But given where we are now, that performance tonight, what does that say about where we really are at as a club? Are we just not a top 3 team? But hold on, we are a top 4 because that team tonight that we saw play, Spurs, but we can beat Man United, we can beat Arsenal, and we can beat West Ham, which means we're top 4. I don't think we're at that level. I honestly don't. And it's not because I think Man United or Arsenal are hugely better than us. I just think the way we play isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And I don't think Conte can get us playing the way he wants. No. And I'm going to assume he's going to
go
with 3-5-2 with the players we got.
He will never be able to.
Because in the 3 in the middle that a Conte team would play, I think Højbjerg sits on the bench.
Yeah.
I think he's a bench player. I think he's a squad player, but I don't think he's a starter. And that's why I say, get those 2 or 3 players, and I really think it changes the dynamic for Spurs. Because we do have the cover, but they're injured. Look, maybe Bergwijn can come on the right as a right wing back. Maybe Sessegnon can do the job, but we don't know because they're always injured.
They all have on and off games, though. That's the thing as well.
Inconsistency, yeah.
Yeah, and there comes a point, you have to switch talent or potential into something. Some of these players have been here for some time now. You mentioned about Lo Celso. I mean, obviously he didn't get much time again today, and I do hope that he springs into some fulfilled action over the next few games or in the rest of the season. But for me, again, he's not a player that I could fully rely on, because sometimes he'll have one good game and then the rest are terrible, or he's just not been good enough in the past. But we're under a new management. We have to give these players, more time and opportunity. But
well, you say that, but Conte says that he's evaluated the squad.
Yeah,
he's now ready to tell the board exactly what the truth is.
Dele Alli didn't come on today, so what does that tell you about him? Obviously, we pretty much assume that he's very much gone already.
Is it a case Dele Alli didn't come on because he's not part of the plans, or is it because, for example, Emerson might not be part of the plans, but he played him because what's the alternative? So I think there are players that played tonight that might not be part of the plans, but we don't have another option.
Yeah. So as well,
it's hard for us to judge who's staying, who's going.
I'm sure we're going to get.
I think Dele's off. I think he's off.
I think we're going to have a lot of chats in the call-ins and stuff about the general mentality of the club. But I guess like the final main points as well of this particular game.
We're still in the tie.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
we are still in the tie.
It's 2-0 to Chelsea at home. We didn't play well at all. Chelsea, I generally, it's not just saying this because I'm biased of being a Spurs fan. I don't think Chelsea played amazingly well. They didn't rip us apart. We gave them the problems. We gave ourselves the problems.
I think though, the chances they created were clear cut. Timo Werner trying to dink it over Lloris. He was in acres of space on the penalty spot. That was a gilt-edged chance. Lukaku turns and shoots straight at Luiz. Ziyech at the end, left foot shot, smashed it over the bar. These weren't long-range shots.
Yeah.
These were in our penalty box with time and space.
Yeah.
Chelsea tonight will be kicking themselves that they didn't put 4 or 5
That's
past
the
us.
energy I think we can take with us.
Well, we have to, because Chelsea know they could have killed off the game and they haven't. But they also know that if they play like that again, they'll probably knock us out. Spurs need a different mindset in the second leg. We need a different setup. We really need to take the game to these guys.
This sounds
we can't play. I just felt the first 20-30 minutes, we were too defensive, and we've been doing that. We did that against Southampton.
Doing it for years.
We did it against Watford. I just feel, come on, Spurs. When, other than Liverpool under Conte, when have we come out of the traps quick?
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
High press, energy, quick. When have we done that?
We haven't done that again in our previous 2 managers either. And you can all go back to the old videos where I did here in the studio, or whenever I've done a call in, I've always said it. Every single game, pretty much under Mourinho, and especially under Nuno, and even to this day, we as Spurs fans go to these home games, as well as watching them on TV if they're away in specific places. We don't come out the gates. We don't have, we play those 2 defensive midfielders, and I understand why, because our defense is shocking, and we have to have some, if you want to call it protection, some of it doesn't work out, obviously, as we've seen today. But like, generally, I see why they do it, because we need the protection there, because we don't have the players or the good players to do it. But in reality, as you saw when Ndombele was brought on, and then we start having the attacking players, he
did nothing again.
No, he didn't. But what I'm saying is,
all right for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But it's that principle of that formation and player positioning that we need to start focusing more on. Stop letting the teams ahead of us think, oh, they're playing defensively because they think we're going to come and attack them, and that's what happens every game. It happens, and then we get stuck, or we run out of ideas, or it's too late. And then that's what I want to see at the beginning of a game, the formation that we are coming to you to try and win this game. Okay, whether we got the good players or not. There are crap teams out there in the Premier League that will turn up to stadiums like this and play well and win games. But we go, no, we're not up for this today. Sorry. Oh, here, have a couple of own goals.
The one thing I'll just add is just a coaching point. Formations don't win you games. It's the way you play the formation. any formation can work if you know why you're doing it and you've got the players to play while you're doing it. Tonight, the way we played the 5-2-3, it was completely incorrect. And I was saying it to you during the game. What is the point of playing like this if the wing backs aren't going to push up?
Yeah.
And it just nullified us having any existence in the midfield. Having 3 players up top, if we can't get the ball to them, is basically just saying we're going to take 3 players off the pitch and play with 8 men, which is how it felt. Second half, we did address it. But again, there was some poor passing, which you can't play with poor passing against a team like Chelsea at their home ground. Even away against some certain teams, you might get punished. Like we could go away to Everton and be poor passing. They might pick us off, but you cannot do it against the top guys. And tonight, our possession was woeful. The way we tried to move the ball, the lack of movement off the ball, the positioning of the players, the quality of the passing. We never, ever got into that game other than maybe the first 10 minutes of the second half. Other than that, for 80 minutes, Chelsea just dominated the game.
Yeah. So, if we don't go with the formation that was selected today, what the hell do we do? And it comes back to that point is it doesn't really matter what formation you put out because we've got the same nonsense team players to pick.
I would force the wing backs to push up high. Like why are you not Emerson's inability to take on a player means he should not be playing in that position.
So if
Emerson cannot take on a player, he cannot be an attacking
If we
fullback.
take him off, who comes on?
Play Reggie on the left,
Yeah.
Brian Hill on the right.
Okay, so we go with Hill because
at least
that's
them
the
two
only
can
option we've
take on-
got. It's the only option we got.
Well, they can take on a player's side.
Southampton, it was working relatively well when Hill came on.
So you cannot play attacking fullback if you are not going to take on a player.
Yeah.
It's nonsensical. Emerson never, ever takes on a player. And that's why tonight he's going to come under scrutiny. A lot of fans are going to say he was woeful, he wasn't good enough. The number one failure tonight of Emerson was you don't take on the man. Hill came on, the one time he takes on a man, the best chance of the game.
Yeah.
Reggie can take on a man. The problem we've got with Reggie is I think he's had the confidence knocked out of him by Jose. So he needs to rebuild the confidence because he can take on a player. I watched him do it for Seville, not just in Spain. He did it for them in the Europa Cup against British sides. He did it against Man United. He ran right against Man United. We can't play that system unless he's going to play against good teams, unless the fullbacks are going to take on a man. Against lesser opposition, fine, because we'll find the space because they're not that good. But against Chelsea's second leg, if he plays with Emerson and Emerson doesn't take on players, just give Chelsea the match. And if he starts with that combination of Højbjerg and Skip, then we've got no passing range in the midfield. And if he starts with that back line again, Sanchez, Davies, Tanganga, we're going to get exposed, man. I don't want to put this all on Conte because at the same time, does he have the tools?
I put it on our ownership, to be honest.
He does to an extent. Like, I would have done certain things different to Conte tonight, but you know what? Can we trust the players that come on to do a job against Chelsea away? Probably not. Mentality-wise, quality-wise, we're still lacking. I think it could have just been a bit better. Like, maybe we do score a goal.
Yeah.
But we still would have lost tonight. The way we played just simply is not at the level of what Chelsea are at. Chelsea have got more investment. They've got better quality. Yeah, they had some players off the pitch, but we didn't have Dyer, who's key to the back line. I don't know.
The thing is, for me, like if we played well and lost, it's a completely different conversation. But the fact that we didn't play well is the same boring amateur mistakes. That's what gets me the most. And in a derby, you spend no matter maybe the quality that you are. Like I said, there's teams less quality, if you want to call it that come to big games like this and get something out of it, or at least show some passion and drive. I didn't see that. I mean, as a passionate person, that is one of the biggest things that infuriates me the most.
You're spot on because Arsenal lost 2-1 to Man City, but they're so happy with the progress they're seeing. And yeah, it was a bitter pill for them to swallow. You speak to any Arsenal fan, they're gutted they lost. But not gutted because they lost the game. They're gutted because they should have not have lost because they were the better team on the day. They took the game to... Man City were rattled by Arsenal. And this is why I say the way we're playing is of a concern to me, because when we play those big teams, I don't know what we're going to do. And today was just another reminder. But listen, maybe it's the final kick up the arse Daniel Levy needs. Pull your checkbook out and get the 2 or 3 players we need, and Conte will get you top 4. You've got an elite manager, back him. That's it.
That is always, do you know what, whatever video we talk about, if we're winning, it goes a bit out of the window sometimes. But the fact of the matter is, like, the ownership needs to sort itself out. I was kind of really embarrassed again, on behalf of my football club that I support, the fact that Conte needs to have a meeting with Daniel Levy. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Conte's been there for enough time. He's probably sussed it out ages ago anyway, even though he's talked about it more recently. But why on earth has this... How can you strategize a January transfer window when January's already begun? And we've already the 5th of January. Time flies. How can you not have a strategy in place before January to go, right, Daniel, this is what... And I was saying that Conte hasn't.
Everton
I'm sure he
signed
has.
2 players.
Yeah.
Newcastle have signed Trippier. There's big rumours this weekend that Coutinho, he has signed for a club. It was
Probably
announced.
Newcastle.
It's either Newcastle or Aston Villa, because he might want to reunite with Gerrard, right? So again, there's clubs in a much more lower position than us, with less financial power, who do not have the high expectations that Spurs have got, who are doing more business than Spurs. It's all great if we're going to leave it to last week of the window, but by then we might have been out of the Carabao Cup, out of the top 4 race because we've lost to Arsenal and Chelsea, and then you go and buy the players. It's bullshit. Get them in now. You're spot on. I totally agree with you, Si. Where's the plan?
I'm just tired of it, mate. I think...
Where's the plan?
I'm just so tired of it, and it's the same every win. Honestly, I really hope I'm not right now, but I can almost in my head guarantee the day Conte walked in that door, I thought, this is going to be a mess. Not because Conte's here, because Conte is a phenomenal manager, but it would be the actual kick of the arse that Levy can't hide anymore. There is no excuse. There is no excuse for Daniel Levy or that board anymore.
There's none.
There is none. And if Conte leaves or gets sacked because of this current team, and we don't bring any players in, I swear,
well,
there will be riots. It'll be chaos.
After Conte? Who do you bring in after
No
Conte?
one will want to come in.
Ryan Mason again?
Nuno was our 10th
Harry Kane
choice.
for manager?
He was our 10th choice, arguably. And the players reacted to that. He reacted to that. The fans reacted to that.
Do you know what's funny? If we beat Chelsea 2-0 and then knock them out on penalties, this conversation dies down again.
It doesn't, because it's back to my point a minute ago. Like, when we win, the conversation disappears for a bit. But it's always in my mind personally. I'm fully adamant that the ENIC out scenario is still in the front of my mind, because you can't pull the wool over your eyes.
Do you think, Si, as we've got a couple of home games coming up now, we've got the second leg of the Carabao Cup, we've got Arsenal. North London derby. Do you think if we get into that Arsenal game and we still haven't signed players, things could begin to turn a little bit toxic again in the stadium? Do you think people will get impatient, a bit of so-called squeaky bum time on transfers, and then it begins to turn again?
Yeah, they will. And Conte
For example, spend some fucking money, spend some fuck. Do you think we're going to hear stuff like that?
Conte won't have that. Conte won't have that. He won't sit on that touchline and have booze around the stadium.
Do you think if we don't sign anyone in January, Conte walks under January, or do you think he'll wait because there's an agreement for a massive £250 million spend and to get rid of all the players he doesn't want in August? Do you think he hangs about till the summer if we don't buy anyone now of quality?
I'm sure Conte is a very nice man, and he probably believes in people or has a trust mechanism in people, right? But if he doesn't know Daniel Levy very well,
but he knows Paratici though.
Yeah, of course. But then Paratici has been brought in, and look, it was a crazy few months under Nuno, and whose players are whose, I don't know. That's up for discussion. But for me personally, if I was Conte and it gets to February and nothing's happened, I'd probably be thinking, like, what the hell's going on? And I would probably be thinking in my mind, do I stay here or not? And just walk.
But will he walk?
I think he could quite easily do that. But I also think that he might wait till the summer if that promise. What is a promise from Daniel Levy? Though?
I'll tell you what
is a promise?
I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to wrap up. We're going to start taking calls from the fans, all the We Are Tottenham TV faithful. We want to hear in your call when you call us up. If we don't buy players in January, does Conte walk end of the month, or does he leave in the summer? Or are we going to buy these players and everything's going to turn out great? Let us know as we take a short break, and then we're going to go to the fan calling.